Oh boy, let's just get into it. In the modern world of narrative and storytelling, a standard narrative, a standard story piece, is told in five segments or acts. A good story respects this order in one way or another because that's generally how human mind seems to understand storytelling. The first act is the exposition, meaning you learn of the characters, the universe, and the relation between the two. Second is called the rising action, meaning you understand what the story is about, what action links and connects the characters to the world. The third act is the climax, where everything starts making sense, answers being found, challenges being overcome. Fourth act is the falling action. Contrary to the rising action, here the dust settles and you are faced with what remains and how those who have remained in the story are reacting in respect to the world and the universe they're partaking in. The final act, resolution, we see the story folding and coming to its end, to its final state. If any of these orders are disrespected or deleted without explanation, surprise, or subversion of expectations, the story is considered incomplete and substandard. Those two ideas are not mutually exclusive. Continuing with the theme of storytelling, in those acts you see your actors, your persona, the characters, and we have names for these people and definitions for how they interact with the overall story and the narrative. A protagonist is who the story is about, the main character, the hero, the person who goes through the transformation to become legend. Protagonists find their place in the challenge, universe, or story by whoever stands in front of them, challenging them. This person is known as the antagonist. Keep this in mind that a protagonist and an antagonist are not pure good or evil. It's just who the story is about. In a story about a serial killer, for example, the protagonist is the serial killer, and the detective, for example, who is after them is the antagonist. There are also people in between the two extremes. Foils, for example, are characters whose purpose is to show us, the reader, the player, the watcher, who the protagonist and the antagonists is or are regarding on how they're behaving to this foiled character. Now, with all of this theater jargon behind us, let's apply all of this to the Lightfall's main story. Now, I have studied professional storytelling, literature, and to some extent theater for a very long time. Still, to this day, which is March 7th, 2023, as of this writing, I cannot put my finger on who is who and which is which in this whatever expansion story, whatever we want to call this, filler. Now, I do not wish to add more gasoline to this flame, as far more suitable people than me have discussed the shallow depths and the low lows of this story and the missed opportunities. I have been trying to take a more literary and artistic approach in regards to the narrative of the game because of two reasons. One, when the words light and fall come together in Destiny, you cannot help but wonder of the what ifs and the potentials. And two, well, because just like you, I like the game. Moving on, other than a visible lack of care for this expansion's story, the other problem that a guy like me, who is very nerdy about stories and plot points, is the unreliable narrator syndrome. I don't like the fact that everyone in this universe knows things that I don't, and I have to react pretending that I do. Yes, I am talking about the veil, about the triangle on the surface of the Traveler, and about whatever Zavala and Ikora said after Light fell and they just packed up and went home. Filler or not, this was not even a good side story. This is my belief, and you are free to disagree with me. But if you do, please help me understand. Please. Try to give me the plot of Lightfall in 3 sentences, because I cannot. And it saddens me. It really does. It seems like the Traveler shutting down should have been a whole lot more important and crucial to the story, and we deserved a little bit more than badly animated, like in-game cinematics, even if you want to call it that, and a couple voice lines. Now, obviously, reviews and criticisms are somewhat subjective. However, I don't like it when I, as the supposed main character of the story, when I know less, or not even at all, about a very important piece of the narrative than literally everyone else on the planet, or the planets plural. I'm supposed to suddenly care about the Neon City and its artificial people because plot? Now I'm going to leave Nimbus, Rohan, Osiris, Triangle story bits out of this script because I still like to think and believe there's more to all of this in a few weeks once the game fully opens up, maybe after the raid ends. I don't like how Nimbus is written. That much I can be certain of. And finally, Callus. Every good story is as good as its villain. We saw the end of the Callus story arc finally after many years, and well, it was an ending. When the chalice fell and it fell to the ground and it broke apart, it was a clear indication and foreshadowing that we are not going to see him anymore. I had been under this impression that it probably would not be us who kills him, maybe Keitel for poetic justice, or even the Witness, but I was wrong. My biggest gripe with Callus in the Lightfall story is the arbitrariness of his presence, meaning he could have been any other bad guy, and the story would not have made a lick of sense. Still, after all this time, I cannot understand why Witness chose Callus as a disciple. With Rolk or Nezarec, at least the lore suggests a lot of fighting, killing and sacrifice, and something a little crazy. Callus seemed to be more opulent than all of that. Pun intended, definitely. Now, at this point, I'm getting tired of thinking about these huge faults in the plot. Even if the campaign was a filler, it did not fill anything. Just angered a lot of people like me, who cannot help but feel a little fooled and fleeced over false information given in the trailers and hype built by the leads of this project. Now, I was very excited to play this expansion like a crazy person non-stop. Now I am not even a little excited. I skip dialogues, I turn the game's volume down and continue my grind like a casual player. I wanted to see a little bit more, a lot more, in fact. Now we'll see how Season of Defiant makes or doesn't make sense in some weeks. Let me know if you agree with me on this. This was just a little bit of venting, because just like you, I was a little angered by all of this. If you're still watching this video until now, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you very soon. Stay safe, stay sane. This, as always, has been Wicked, signing off.